Hi, I'm Maetrik, and you're watching EQTV. I didn't think it was going to sell the way it did. It was a lot of tracks just made spur of the moment. Over the past year, I was trying to make like more soulful tracks, and everything I came up with, Damian would just eat up. He would just take and throw it on the album, and the next one, throw it on the album. And so I was a little worried that it wasn't going to be as well received as it is, and it's doing really, really well. I'm actually really happy with it. So
it was thrown together. So it sounds like it's made as a...
Well, the thing is, it's in chronological order. All the tracks are in. So the first track that I sent to Damian that we started the whole album idea off of, I did another one after that and another one, and each one was not thrown together. I mean, I wanted them to go well with each other, but there was no tracks that were left off or added at the end or anything like that. It was literally like boom, 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 boom. And every time I finish another one, it was like, oh, that goes perfect with this one. It's perfect. You know, it just came together. It was amazing. I made Gravy Train, and Damian heard that. I made the next one, which is called Sleazy E, and then he was like, I think you're on a flow. Like, I think you should just keep going. Whether you like Crosstown or not, Damian fucking knows what he's doing. Like, he's just one of those people that you could tell he knows. He just has a thing for like hearing talent and just letting it go. So he heard the two tracks and he was like, "You've already got a flow going. Let me hear a third, and then I think I want you to do an album." I made a third. And he was like, "Okay, you definitely need to keep going." So I just kept going, and it just happened. So yeah, and he knew the whole time that it was gonna be cool. In order for something to be good at home, it has to have a lot of music. You know, and the album is actually very musical. People on some of the tracks, people just think of them as dance tracks, but I mean, the whole album is very, very musical. It's, you know, it's full of melodies, full of samples, full of vocals. I did a lot of vocals on it. Also have other people did vocals and saxophone. I had a saxophone player come in and play sax. I mean, it's very musical, so I think that's why it works at home. This one's a very natural occurring album. And you could hear like what I was feeling at the moment, you know, like the first track is very G-funk. It's kind of like Cool in the Gang-ish sounding with the synths, and so I was feeling this disco type of G-funk thing, and from there you could tell like what I was into at the moment when I made it, and it just kind of goes up and down, and there's high points, there's low points, there's sad times in the album. But it's the reason why it flows well is because it was naturally made that way to, you know, like that, and it was in order, so it worked out perfect. the Maetrik album. I've only got a couple tracks done, and so far it's going really well. It's Maetrik style, which is much darker, much more futuristic. A lot of sound design going on, a lot of different kinds of rhythms and stuff. But that one I'm doing that one in the exact same type of way, and it's gonna come out on Cocoon, and they're giving me a lot of, so far at least, a lot of freedom to just whatever, let it flow. So let's see how it goes.
What would you say is the big difference between Maceo Plex and
Maceo Plex is me having fun, and Maetrik is actually thinking about my production. Like Maceo Plex is, I was just having fun with melodies and sounds and making sure that they fit in the mix perfectly production wise, but it's just having fun. And the Maetrik stuff, I actually think about that, and I think about innovating with each track, and I didn't really try to innovate at all with Maceo Plex, but the thing about the Maceo Plex album is that I'm a techno artist. I've always been a techno artist and a darker type of techno artist. So when a dark techno artist makes house music, I think that album is what you would get, what I imagine you would get. So it's like a better produced house album than most house albums out there. I wouldn't say I'm putting more time into the Maetrik album, but I'm second guessing some of the decisions I make on the Maetrik album more so far than I did with the Maceo Plex album. The Maceo Plex album was a lot more natural out of me, which could be a good reason to keep going with the Maceo Plex stuff, which I'm gonna do. I already have. But the Maetrik stuff, I really, it's well produced. I have a certain idea in mind when I make a Maetrik track. It has to sound a certain way, and if it doesn't, it starts veering off in prog territory or too housey or whatever, then I'm just forget it. But so I'm second guessing the decisions I make with the Maetrik stuff. It could be amazing, but it could be something for the heads, the people that really looking for something different and kind of within techno. House, I've noticed house and disco fans, they just want something that makes them dance, makes them happy. There's some critics out there that are looking for something different in each track. They want something innovative they haven't heard before, which is almost impossible to do these days. But techno people, they're a lot more purist in the way they think, and I'm that way too when I'm trying to make techno. I want to, I don't want it to make something too Jerome Sydenham sounding, or I don't want to make I want to sound like me and nobody else, and so that's why the album has to be different.
You've got all these amazing labels chasing after you.
They ignored me for years, so it's kind of nice. Yeah. It's a big fuck you to all the labels, but a lot of them ignored me for years, but that's because I had a different sound. And the thing is, I stuck to the sound. There was moments where I did something houseier than normal, or did something super hard techno or something, but usually my sound is very much my sound because I don't come from Berlin, I don't come from London, I don't come from any of these big cities where everybody fucking sounds the same. I come from Miami, and I lived in Dallas for many years, and that was there's nothing in Dallas, so my sound doesn't sound like anybody. I was in isolation the whole time, so a lot of these labels, they ignored me for years, and now I guess they're just getting a bunch of shit in the mail. I don't know, but they're looking for something different, So it's kind of works. I don't know how long it's gonna last, but it works. It works for now. So I'm thankful, yeah. Can we talk about artists that don't make their own music? Can we talk about that? Fuck artists that don't make their own music. I just want to say there's a lot of this going on right now, and I think it needs to stop. I think people need to really pay attention to this and stop supporting people that don't make their own music. It's ridiculous. How many? I mean, it's. I don't want to name any names, but there's so many names that show up. They play. They do live PA sometimes, and they didn't even make any of the tracks. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing how many people do this. It's because the scene. Now, there's people that have money, and there's people that are like, well, I really love house and techno. I want to be famous. Who could I get to make my tracks for me, to make me famous? And they have money, and they pay 10 grand or whatever, and they get somebody to make their tracks for them, and they become huge. I can't talk too much here because I'm ghostwriting a little bit for somebody, but it's a little bit different of a deal. When somebody has great ideas and they come into the studio with you and help you out, and you come up with cool stuff, that's a little different. But there's actually people out there just paying for music and getting it, and then releasing on the biggest labels there are, and nobody cares. And there's people that know it, and they still don't care. They still support them. I don't know, it's crazy.